Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. My guest today is a good and actually a longtime friend, Casey Lane. He is the general manager for the Teton Ridge Riders here in Arizona. Casey, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Luke. It's a pleasure to be here, buddy.
For me, it's fun to see guys like you that have done so well in the Western industry and trying to help expand and help grow it, as you are trying to do with the PBR Team Series and the Teton Ridge Riders. Let's dive right into that, because I know a lot of people are interested, curious about it, and there's also people that are skeptical and hate it.
It's still a mixed bag of people who don't love the team concept, but I think those that have given it a chance have seen and understood the nuance and frankly enjoyed the competition. It's a very different model than we're used to in Western sports, but very similar in ways to other sports. You know, I tell our guys all the time, the coaches as well as the riders, they have to change their mindset, because bull riding is a sport very much like baseball, right? If you're successful 4 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame. And when you think about bull riding as an individual, it's always about getting that 90-point score and, you know, all the things that we've built up over time through the histories of rodeo and the PBR. But now we're at a point where if you buck off, which you are likely to do 6 out of 10 times, there's somebody else there that can pick you up.
And I noticed that when I went to the PBR in Austin. You see those guys cheering for their teammates and rooting for them. And not saying they didn't in the past, but this just elevates it to a whole new level, and I think some of the fans are starting to see that.
I promise you, you go to a teams deal and you get into the point where you're rooting for a team against team matchup that takes about 40 minutes. You care about every single ride, whether the bull runs off and the guy's 65 points and the coach has to decide whether or not he's going to take the re-ride or whether or not he's going to bank on a number of scores, because there's other components of strategy in here that aren't at play in the individual season, and it makes it compelling.
But you have a guy like Jose, and then maybe one of those guys that are in the top, barely cracking the top 50, and you put them on the same team. Jose is going to elevate that guy to make him try to be the very best, because he doesn't want to let a legend like Jose down. And I think it's across the board on every team. Your number one draft picks, those bottom guys, they're like, I need to step up. I need to make this where I could potentially be that number one draft pick at some point.
You know, like we know when we go play the Austin Gamblers and Jose's healthy, we need 3 scores on the board, because if it comes down to him at the very end, whatever he's got to be, there's a chance he's going to be it if you have the same number of scores on the board as they do. There's different strategies associated with different teams. We've got plenty of star power on our team, but we really built our team around balancing the left-handed and right-handed guys and consistency and riding percentage. If you look at the numbers, the idea that we picked up Eduardo Aparecido in the 3rd round would be ridiculous if you were drafting a baseball draft. He's one of the most consistent riders, particularly right-handed, in the league. And the idea that he slipped all the way to the 3rd round for us to pick him up probably wouldn't happen that way if people got to see how the way the season was going to play out before they picked their squad.
I think, to me, like you said, it adds a whole new dynamic to the sport. Something that I think people will get on board with and learn, you know, especially those, I guess, naysayers, you can call them, they'll learn to appreciate and enjoy.
There's still plenty of opportunities on the individual side, right? You got a full individual season of Unleash the Beast. During the time that the Team Series is going on, there's the Challenger Series. So they got plenty of chance to get on a random draw and go get on bulls that are going to go away from their hand and continue to develop their skills. But this particular 11 weeks of bull riding is all about finding the appropriate balance within your roster and creating the strategy that allows you to beat the team that you're up against.
Well, I could see Glendale being an exciting event. Like I said, the one in Austin was amazing. That place was packed. Then when we left, there were still people outside, you know, bullshitting about how great of an event it was. And from the sounds of it, the 2 days after that, it was another great 2 events.
Yeah, no, it's been very strong in the home markets. The merchandise sales is another piece where rodeo and bull riding, it's always been a struggle, because most of the fans want to dress like the competitors, right? They don't want a JB Mooney t-shirt. They want a Wrangler, you know, work shirt with a pack of Marlboros in the front pocket if they want to, if they're a JB Mooney fan. But this teams deal has created opportunity for fans to buy jerseys and caps, and that business has been stronger for the PBR. The teams are sharing in that as well. We've also created our own merchandise business. You can go to ArizonaRidgeRiders.com and click on the shop tab and buy merchandise there. You can also go there to follow the progress of the team, keep track of our social feeds. But it's really created a different dynamic intended to attract a new fan. We always want to be careful not to offend the core, but we also have to remember that the core wants this to grow. And in order for that to grow, we have to provide opportunities and platforms for fans to consume rodeo content in ways that are different than we've done it the last 100 years, so that we can really put the world on blast that rodeo is a sport that you're going to love. Give it a chance.
Are you the type of general manager that will get in their face? Because I've heard stories about some of the general managers not being real happy with their team and getting after them.
I am probably not that guy. I'm pretty good about staying in my lane. I am happy with where we are. I am disappointed at a few of the outcomes. We've ridden more bulls than anybody else in the league, which I believe is the statistic that's going to pay off in the long run. We've had a lot of contributors on our team, not just guys that we drafted, but a lot of free agent pickups that have won us games and contributed for us in a huge way. You know, two of the young guys that we drafted that I'm most excited about are coming back this week, and that's Chase Doherty, who also has a little connection to the rodeo world, having ridden in the PRCA for a number of years and won the average at the NFR, I believe. And then Mauricio Moreta, who's a kid who is really hot. He's very flashy, super dynamic. I'm super excited to have both those guys back, and I feel like we're in a really good spot to finish the home stretch, win our home event, and go into the team finals in Vegas in November with a really strong hand to play.
For your personal life, you are also the national rep for the Indiana High School Rodeo Association. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I am the national director for Indiana High School Rodeo, which is a whole nother bag of hammers to deal with, but I enjoy it so much. My first year that I got to judge high school rodeos was you and Clayton Grant and Caleb and Jake Twisselman and that sort of age group, so I always can mark that difference. But now to be able to work with a whole state organization, you know, developing talent, understanding the rodeo culture in the Midwest, which is different than it is, you know, where we grew up, but really, really, really strong and a ton of fun to be around, has been amazing.
Casey, thank you for joining us on the show. This has been one of the funnest sessions we've had so far. I appreciate it, and good luck to the Ridge Riders.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.